All right, so yesterday, I decided I wanted to start making universes content again, specifically focusing on the My Hero Academia only format. And the last couple of times I did this, I had a lot of fun, but I've decided to make it even more fun. And I brought my good friend Sam Tate here.
Hi, everybody.
And for those of you who don't know me, I am Brett Hillman. You've probably never heard my voice before, so welcome. What we're going to do here for you today is we've got one of those fancy little tier lists that someone else has already done, but we've got more characters to talk
We've got
about.
a better tier list.
A better tier list because, psych, we've got a lot more characters to talk about because some things got spoiled, some things got revealed, and some things got forgotten about.
And some characters were just put in the wrong tier.
I think she's not even that great.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm not starting any YouTube drama, but if you want to start YouTube drama, you can find me at Ace Maneuvers on YouTube.
And we want the smoke!
Don't at me on any of that. The way this is going to work, we're probably just going to go down alphabetical order from UVS Ultra.online. That's an incredible website, by the way. If you don't have that bookmarked for all your universe's needs, do so. It will make your life a whole lot easier, and shout outs to everybody who took on that burden for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk of when are we going to get the database, where's the new database, all that stuff. UFS Ultra is a beautiful blessing of a deck builder. It's honestly my favorite format of a deck builder, and I'm glad that we were able to keep it alive.
Big props to the guy over in France who did the first version.
Yep, and then Scott DeJarnette with UVS Ultra.
Thank you guys. You guys really are enabling a whole lot of dreams here right now, so we really appreciate you. But the way this is going to work is we're going to take turns putting a character where we think they go in the tier list, and then we're just going to argue about it.
Yeah, well, and, look, I'm just going to say this right now. Your favorite character, they're probably not going to be high tier. I personally, I'm looking at 2 S tiers, right? Like, I'm looking at 2, like...
2, 3...
Yeah, maybe? S tier is cream of the crop. We're talking, like, unfair advantage in most matchups. When I say S tier, it doesn't mean, like, they have to be lopsided. I'm looking for a 6-4 matchup on the field. So if your favorite character is not high tier, it's not that they're not good. It's just that they might not have a wide range of good matchups.
Yeah, but one of the beautiful things about this game is that it's not just how good the character is, it's how good you are with the character. So even if we end up putting someone down in like C tier, which is probably not someone you should seriously consider taking to a tournament, if you know your deck in and out and you can play that deck really well, you can probably do pretty well top 16, top 8 a tournament.
Yeah.
Do we think you are intrinsically going to win that tournament? Probably not.
Right.
There are certain characters who are just born better, and they're going to give you that natural edge. The pillars and the gatekeepers and the bullies of the format. Those are the characters we're going to put a little bit higher. The S tiers, like we said, I think there's like 2 true S tiers and then like an S tier gatekeeper who's going to keep a lot of the A tier away from the S tier. And then there's going to be everyone else. A tier is going to, be great. There's going to be the guys who know A tier in and out, and they're going to take down their locals, and they'll run hot on a tournament or two and take down a big tournament here and there. B tier, you're going to have to put in a lot more work. C tier, we can't, in good heart.
C tier, to me, the deck might be totally fine. It's a great deck. It works. It does everything it's supposed to, right? It gets whatever resource it wants to get. It draws the cards it wants to draw. But if it's not well equipped for the field it's in, for the format it's in, I think it's different from other card games where if you have like a B tier or a C tier deck in like a 3 deck format kind of game,
you're going nowhere.
Yeah, you're not like in Magic the Gathering, a C tier deck doesn't win after sideboarding ever, right? Like its chance to win goes straight down. The universal fighting system that My Hero Academia CCG uses, we're so used to decks that are really potent. They're really good at what they do, but by the time they get towards the end of a tournament, by the time people have sort of figured it out, and by the time you get to the decks that are equipped for everything, it really exposes narrow game plans. And I think you're going to see that at like the bottom tier. It's just like a game plan that's like, I'm going to do this card over, like I want to play this thing over and over. I don't think it's going to be super successful early on.
Yeah, so C tier is us not saying your deck is bad and you should feel bad. So don't take it that way. It's just our opinions on all of these things. But we can definitely get into all that subjective stuff for 2 hours, and we don't got 2 hours. So I say we jump right into this.
Yeah, I'm going to say one more thing. I'm also, like, this is not a vacuum. I don't know who does a tier list in a vacuum.
The context of this tier list is going to be My Hero Academia only, the format.
There's definitely going to be characters with, like, a nutty ability that I'm not finding a deck for, right?
Yeah, or the support just may not be there. Or they might just be, you know, a character who goes absolutely bananas in Universe's standard. There are a couple of characters I think aren't great in My Hero Academia only, but they're incredible in standard. Like we'll discuss that as we go, and if we slip a couple standard references in there, we're sorry. We know a lot of you are going to be new to the game, but use that Universe's Ultra Online. Look at the cards we're talking about. Come join the standard group if you're jumping in, because we'd love to have you, okay?
It's just more ways to play.
Yep, more ways to play, more tools, a lot more crazy interactions going on because there's 10 sets instead of 1. Right.
All right, who you got first for us?
All right, so we're going to start with the big boy himself. We're going to do All Might number 1.
The All Might, by the way. This is number 1 All Might. This is the first, when they thought of All Might, they went, here's our All Might.
Yeah, so I'm going to put him easily in the B tier. Even if you are reducing your hand size is great, because the going rate on that is you've got to go really, really deep to never not have 5 cards in your hand. And his damage output is pretty good once you start factoring in his synergies, particularly Detroit Smash.
Yeah. I think he's got the workings of a B tier character because he has a clear path to victory written right on the card. He looks at what attacks do you want to play. He tells you what your attacks are. They're Fury or Punch. Your finisher is going to be the enhanced commit, blow you out with a massive attack. It's anime as fuck.
Yeah.
It's completely flavorful for All Might, the one punch.
Just smash you.
Yeah. And then you look at the form and you've got a little bit of that card advantage. But if you look at the card field and how reliant he is on his own cards to draw 3, to, synergize with the punches, I think you're going to see a lot of All Mights show up. They're going to have a lot of fun, but they're going to run to a deck that can block that really big attack.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something we're going to discuss a lot for a lot of these characters, actually. When they draw their ultra rare attack, they're going to pop off. But when they don't draw their ultra rare attack, they're just kind of stuck there. Like delete Detroit Smash from All Might's kit, and like his foundations are just sort of there, so you're going to be going to one of his other character supports to find foundations.
Right.
And that's my biggest problem with him is if a wall gets set up, he's going to have a really difficult time punching holes in a wall. Like, yeah, his attacks are really big, but what happens when he runs into, like, Wall Cling plus Trace Sheet Cape to just Omni-block something on every single turn? Or if he runs into Self-Assured out of Todoroki's kit to just change the zone? Or is it, I think it's Hanta's that changes any zone here. But if...
What happens once you run into 7 foundations? You formed, you draw 7, you have to build, you now have a defensive turn.
Yeah, and just, like, he can gas really well, but he can also gas himself out really well. And if the opponent just decides to sit there and play defense, I think he's going to struggle.
The hardest part for playing this character is that form is fun. It is fun to just start your turn and go, I'm going to draw 3 more.
And that's another thing to think about. How are you going to sequence your plays?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so that example...
Do you form every single turn?
I almost think once you form once, you almost have to.
Every single turn? That's where I'm at.
Like, to keep up, to be a four-hander, a 430, like, you go first, I can see you building and then forming. Like, but, in the example where you draw that 7 foundations, it's easy enough to say, oh, well, if I had 4, I wouldn't use the form. Okay, great. You're now a four-hander who's,
You're stuck.
Yeah,
you're stuck
you're a four-hander for a turn. You have to skip a turn. If you've been following, the recent card game design, a lot of the competitive play right now is about, can you skip a turn on somebody? Can you get 1 turn ahead? Whether it's Flesh and Blood, whether it's Magic with skipping turns, like all the other really big card games, it's 1 turn tempo. Mm-hmm. And so I think the first time you blank on an All Might kill turn, the first time you don't kill somebody, you're going to feel really bad.
Yeah, I agree. Next.
Who's next? We got Denki. We got Denki Kaminari.
Zappy Boy.
We got the Zappy Boy, the actual best quirk in the class.
All right, so it's your turn to pick him. Where are you going to put Denki?
He's A tier for sure.
Yeah.
He is
definitely.
so close to an S tier. He is 100% gated by charge. He only gets one keyword. I thought he got charge or stun for his response.
He only has charge.
Yeah, so I think he could be S tier if you could just load up on the stun keyword and you could go other places.
Now, his enhance is charge or stun. But
Right.
his true power,
Response.
his once per game, his response to load your card pool into your momentum is charge only. Now, to be fair to Denki, there's some really good charge attacks in this set.
Charge is the best keyword that they push.
Charge definitely feels like the central core for a lot
Pillar
of these
swing.
characters. I think Denki's great.
I think Denki is fantastic.
I think Denki is going to be viable off all three of his symbols. I
Yes.
think his 4 difficulty attacks are both incredible. I think you go somewhere else for his big finisher. I think you play either Meteor Shower or Home Run Comet out of Ochaco rather than Blitz Rush at 6 difficulty because you're going to be a little bit gassed after you pop off his response.
A big thing for me is he doesn't really run out of fuel. For a character who has a once per game, I don't think you have to win on that turn. I think you can just bank a ton of momentum. If your opponent blocks everything, right? They're getting stunned out. They're not going to be able to block. Something's going to get through. And let's say you don't have the kill this turn, right? We just talked about you're skipping a turn. He can still get immense value from banking a bunch of momentum that your opponent went out of their way to deny you. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely a format where you can just slap down a card and go, all right, it gets EX speed or, tons of powerful, and you just find the right spot. There's not a whole lot of 1-for-1 defensive pieces that don't let you engage on one attack. I think this is a format where you can load up one big attack, and if its numbers get high enough, they're just not going to block.
Fair enough. I think that's all that really needs to be said about Denki. You want to move on?
The only other one thing I want to say with the Denki is he has the stats and the symbols. He can play a blank game almost, and I think that's important. His symbols are really important to him.
Yeah, and he's target commit for most of his abilities. Mineta, I believe, is the opponent gets to choose what they commit, but he's target commit.
Yeah, and
for
there's
his stuff, and that's the dichotomy there is really important because when you think of really scary foundations in My Hero Academia, I can only think of maybe 5 really scary things off the top of my head, and Denki just gets to shut those off.
All the ones I can think of are reusable. It's not like what we're used to where you have a E remove, you're safe from one attack. It's you get to block this one, and you can reuse it. And him being able to target those down is very important.
All right, fan favorite coming up here.
Riot.
Red Riot. We're going to go with Eijiro Kirishima, and I am really close to inclined to putting him in C tier, but my experience with characters similar to him.
If I'm being honest with myself, I'm pretty mediocre.
I'm going to put him in B tier. So for those of you who haven't played this game, the ability to pick up a foundation from your staging area is very powerful because once you reach a gap of resources, you don't care that you're basically debuilding yourself. You care that you're getting that +1 hand size on a block zone that you want or recurring a face down attack from your staging area, which conveniently Kirishima can do for you because he's secretly a 6 hand size when people are attacking.
And he's 7 when it matters.
And you poke and you get your foundation, right? From hit your turn.
Yeah, you get your free build.
Yeah, you get your free build. And then you get a free build on the opponent's turn as well. You're going to be super far ahead there, even if you're not attacking the opponent.
He also has some of the best setups. I think it's Hardened Jab is one of them. He has a pick up a face down, and then you build a face down. And then he has another attack that is destroy a face down to build a face down. Mm-hmm. So he's got the Andy Enhance, who just got banned out of fucking standard for having resource recursion.
Look it up online. He's dumb.
Yeah. So this is just, we're predicating this based off experience, not off pure speculation.
Yeah, you go even further back. You have Maxima, who was severely broken, but he had a lot more interactions. Like, Kirishima stuff is a lot tamer.
Yeah.
But you have to be cautious around these sort of effects because they could print something a set from now and Kirishima just becomes bananas.
Yeah.
He also hits really, really hard. So if the opponent doesn't respect what you're doing, they can just die. Do I think he's going to be able to kill you in one turn? No. I think he's going to chip you for 3 damage here, 4 damage here, and then when you overextend and you exhaust yourself trying to kill him, that's when he gets you. Because he has the cards that will help you pitch their hand down, sort of equalize the game, and then he can pick up attacks from his staging area.
He has fake draw.
Yeah.
He has the fakest draw. He has weird ways. And here's the thing about Kirishima. I think B is actually correct, but I think people are going to think he's A tier and he's S tier because the ability to go, this is a high attack. Let me look at my... It's not even face down, by the way. You can add a face-up foundation.
If you really want to.
Like, if it's the right block zone, I've run into that where I'm like, how do I flip this? Because I need it to be a face-down because specifically the card says add a face-down to your hand. Kirishima can play out his whole hand and still block 2 attacks.
Yeah, he can build 5 and still have 2 blocks in his hand.
And take 4 less damage over the course of those 2 attacks. And so I think he's going to look like an A and an S tier, but the actual ability to slow people down in this format does not exist. He has a breaker attack, which is important, and he has the attacks that you're going to start your turn and you're not going to have a kill hand, right? And then you're going to play, I think it's hard in jab. He's going to play his attack and he's going to go, okay, well, I'll pick up this second attack and I'll build a face down. And then that face down's another attack. And he's like, oh, I have another card that'll let me just Kirishima enhance and pick this up. Now I have a kill hand from playing a 1 attack hand. And that has been a huge part of my experiences in Standard is just going, I don't have like a great hand, but I have abilities to get through it.
Now I do.
Yeah. And so being able to sculpt is insanely powerful, but being a 5 hand size early on, being a 5 hand size while my opponent is not attacking me is very much a detriment. And I think experienced players who have played, universes before are going to look at Kirishima and go, I'm not going to let him build a free foundation. I'm not going to let him add a card to his hand. And I am going to build more than him because I am naturally more hand size.
Yeah, I get you. And that's what needs to be said about Ajiro. Your turn.
Eraserhead, the guy who I thought was called Blank Man forever.
He's right here, and we're just going to slide him right up here.
Where is he going,
what is there to say?
Where is he fucking going? Holy shit.
Anybody who puts him any lower than this has got some explaining to do.
Okay, first of all, 49 card deck. If you're a card game player, you're nutting over 1 less card, right?
Yeah. All you statisticians out there, do not get at us because I don't want to get into the probability of the difference between 49 cards and 50 cards.
I do fucking at me.
Aizawa, when it matters, your attack is -2 speed and your character is off. When it matters, my attacks are +2 speed and your character is off. When it really matters, the best foundation or asset in your staging area is off. This character, I'll come right out and say it, I think his kill capacity sucks, but I don't think that matters. Dude. Because a good player will find a way. You will be able to assemble a kill from a wet paper bag, some of Dave Wagner's hair, and a little bit of salt from Phil Birch. You will be able to do anything if you can just outplay your opponent. And I think Aizawa enables you to outplay your opponent. I think he's the most interactive character in My Hero Academia only. Now, bad player picking up Aizawa, probably gonna get dunked.
When do you draw 2 cards? That's the hard part, right? Like, when do you commit?
Yeah, like, when do you put resources in? Because you're gonna be really tempted to just seal their character and pick up a race every single time. But you gotta ask yourself, when do I remove and erase to Night Watch my opponent to cancel their enhance? That's a really big deal.
Erase, is it the best card by itself
in the format?
Best non-attack for sure, right?
There aren't a lot of non-attacks in this format if you're not counting foundations, which is a really stupid thing for me to say, but it's certainly the best action.
Well, yeah, I'm talking strictly like, is it better than foundation? Like, I think it's better than almost all the attacks.
Yeah, it I think that's just boils it down. He interacts the most, and interaction wins games.
The next one.
All right,
Goes
Crowboy.
by Fumakagi.
Tokoyami, everyone's favorite goth. This is me for the pick, and he's going in A tier. This is the character that put the idea in my head that if he draws his ultra rare, he just goes absolutely ham. But if he doesn't have his ultra rare, he's stuck just sort of spinning his wheels until he finds his ultra rare. Now, to be fair, the evil symbol's really good at not dying in My Hero Academia only. They have a lot of speed manipulation. They have super regeneration to gain 3 life. I think
That is a good card.
it's a really good card.
I don't know if it's that good, but it's good in this format.
Fire's really good in this format too for defensive options as well.
Also, one of the only symbols that mills in the set.
Yes, which is really important for putting Summon Dark Shadow in your discard pile. I think Toko is not getting slept on. I think people are super aware of what he does.
Fan favorite, too. He's going to get played.
And Crow and Frog Takedown, the triple infinity that it doesn't count towards progressive, is insane, and he's one of the characters who best gets to utilize it. So I think he's a really simple, really straightforward deck, but he has depth once you get past the how do I put as many Summon Dark Shadows in my card pool as possible when I'm popping off. When he's not popping off, you're kind of struggling to survive, but when he pops off, I think a lot of characters just die.
I think it's really interesting because he was definitely the character that made me look at it and go, okay, what's like the high roll, right? Like I look at the character and it doesn't look that good. Because you just read put Summon Dark Shadow in your hand, right? And then you read Summon Dark Shadow, and like it commits your character, and you're like, okay, I guess I had to do that, you know. So I look at it, and I would put him in C tier, except for he gets fucking access to the Frog and Crow takedown, and that card is great. And if I look at the cards, if I look at the hands that Fumakagi can draw. They're fucking insane. Like you said, like if you get the right cards, he is rando. Like, you know, from standard, he has the +1/+1, +1/+1, the, you know, like I look at the character, +1 damage, -1 damage, not impressive. I get +1/+1 and +1 damage, looks pretty good. I get +2/+2, and then another I get +2/+3. That's like, wow, every attack I play after this is beating your ass, and you have to answer it. And then if he ever gets the third, which he's passing the checks, he's passing the checks from picking it up. You know, yeah, if he gets the third, it's just like, hopefully that's the last attack, right? Like, hopefully he's got too much in his card pool.
No.
I would put him way, way lower, but I saw the Infinity symbol promo card that is just insane in him. As soon as you ignore progressive, that +3 to the check becomes like
your next card is free.
Yeah,
your next card is free.
As soon as there's an ability like to just say your next card ignores, or like this one ignores when you have so many things that he can play, I think I could safely move him up. I would still put him like B at best, even with like the Infinity. Because again, I think the issue for him is like you're gonna have the deck, like we said at the beginning. It does everything great. It does everything you want to do. It mills itself. He's got the best self mill. He's got the best mill as soon as they open the discard pile up.
He's got range synergies with Todoroki to draw to.
Right. So I'm super down with what he's doing. I am not super down with trying to draw those cards consistently.
The last thing I want to point out with him is his enhance ability is playable on the opponent's turn. So when you're going to try to kill him, you got to make sure you're not leaning too heavily on your mids. And a lot of the powerful, like, big finishers in this format are mids. Tape Boy, Hanta Sero. Throw him on the tier list.
I'm so glad this one came to me, because there's only one place. I don't know if I can do this on the Apple. There's only one place where he goes.
Oh, why?
And we need an F tier because he's so overhyped, bro.
Really?
I thought this character was C tier until I saw that his discard, his reveal your hand response, is once per game. This guy's only got one turn to kill me. He's got to throw everything he's got at me. I don't get to do anything, and he can only mess with me one time.
Now, I'm going to disagree with you. I think he sits, like, in between A and B tier.
Bro, he's a six-hander who don't draw cards unless you do something wrong.
Yeah, so if you do something stupid, he's going to get to draw 2 cards. So let's talk about the illusion of choice in UFS. When you give the opponent the choice on how you get to activate your abilities, the ability is significantly weaker than when you have the choice. Now,
it's a reactive game plan.
Yes, now,
it's offensive reactions that you can't force.
I am so high on his once per game because I am an idiot when it comes to information. I think if you get to like peek their hand and you look at their board and you look at your board, you've eliminated so much RNG from the game and you're like, oh, they're dead if I don't check poorly.
It's known quantities.
Yeah, like you gather as much information as possible. My biggest thing is his numbers are just what they are. Like, he's going to struggle to kill some of the characters in the format who can generate blocks out of nowhere. Like
Kirishima never dies to this dude.
Yeah.
Like, Kirishima's going to full block with nothing in hand, pick up another attack and full block again, and you're going to be like, but now what's Platoon? What did I... If you're getting beat by Red Riot, you're fucking F tier.
Now, to be fair, I think him plus Tape Swing plus Ultra is a beating, because that's a 14 damage attack they can't fully block.
And if I let you get that powerful, you were gonna kill me no matter who you were.
Fair enough.
If you're gonna be a six-hander and say I'm gonna draw these 3 cards, while we got motherfuckers on the tier list who say search your deck for the best card in the game and put it in your discard pile and then pick it up whatever the fuck you want, I'm putting this guy F tier. Right. He wants me to play badly. He wants to change the zone against people who will then give him the information to change the zone.
Yeah.
And because of that, he doesn't have the damage potential. He can't actually force attacks through. The one thing that people really, really overestimate is changing the zone of attacks. That is very strong. But then I block with a mid and I take 4 damage. You look at my hand and see nothing because I didn't hold anything because I'm not stupid. What?
You get to draw 2 cards whenever they partial.
That's what I'm saying. If you look at my hand and there's nothing, or you draw 2 blank cards, I'm not... Look, historically, there has never been a zone change character that lived up to the hype. Historically, there has never been a character that has lived up to the hype when they do things depending on how you block. Historically, there's never been a character that has a conditional draw 2 only on 1 turn that has ever been good. This character is overhyped. His cards are good. His abilities are good. He does not have the kit to present to me he has the ability to win games. That's what we talked about. Like, his deck, he's gonna play his tape strike, and you're never gonna deny him momentum. Because as soon as you block that fully, right, he's gonna look and he's gonna know what zone to change. So his one ultra rare where you're like, I'm going to discard a momentum, change the zone, get 2 damage, change the zone, get 2 damage. Like, you can do that one time to somebody. And then they're never going to fall for it again. Like, you're going to have to beat your opponent's draws. You are not going to beat your opponent by being better than them at the game with Hanta. You're not going to beat them by having a better deck. You're going to beat them because you have these weird fucking abilities that stop your opponent from making informed decisions, and then they're going to draw poorly because of it. They're not going to sculpt well. And any character that can sculpt, any character that can pick up what they want, and any character that goes, hey, you're blank on my turn? You don't do shit. Like, you can do the once per turn response, or once per game, but it's once per game. If you're going to blow that on my turn, dude, this character is going nowhere. This character is not that scary. I'm just not afraid. The most scary thing I see from him is that he has the water symbol. And on the water symbol, you might play cards that make me think you're playing a Froppy deck, and then I'll be scared until I realize, you're just fucking Hanta. Like, right. I'm not afraid of this guy.
All right. Deku. Is that who we're on? We're on Midoriya? Yeah. Okay, Deku. Hate to say it because I love him as a character, but I'm also...
You like to take notes?
I'm going to put him down here as well. I don't...
Why? Is it because you might have to know what's in your opponent's hand? Is it because he picks zones?
Yeah,
just like the last character?
He's a whole lot better than his demo deck version.
I think he's better than Hanta.
You think he's better than Hanta?
I think he's better than Hanta. I'd rather have Midoriya's abilities.
Okay, so Midoriya is definitely capable of killing people, but I think any player worth their salt just looks at a Deku player across the table and just shrugs their shoulders. Like, so
it's going to be annoying the one time they randomly guess right every time.
Yeah, and like he's going to try and walk you into his zone manipulation, but again, he's giving the opponent the choice. And how fucked are you when you make your choice and the opponent just shrugs and plays that zone anyway? Like, either there's no fear there or you're playing against an absolute madman.
He's got a beautiful ability to show you, like, the sequencing matters in UFS. Because as soon as he goes, all right, I pick this zone, and the next attack you wanted to play was that zone, but you're like, okay, I guess I'll play something else instead. And it's not as optimal, but it's, it's better than just having a blocked attack. So I think in that respect, he's interesting, but he's not reliable. We need to talk about a better character.
Yeah, all right, it's your turn to put Bakugo. If anybody's active on Facebook, they know I think his character is all flash, no substance.
And he's only slightly better than Deku because guess what? You get to choose. Like, this is one of those things where his response to clear his card pool when you block is tight. That's very strong, very cool. It still does not give you the proactive game plan. And historically, the synergies that come with clearing your card pool, you don't want it to be based on what your opponent does, right? Like, you want to be able to control that. You want to discard the cards from your card pool. You want to up your synergistic abilities. You want to get those counts up. He has some very cool cards, and he's only above Deku because Deku comes in the same box. Like, legit, if they were both in the set, I'd probably put them next to each other. But because we've been so inundated with these two characters playing against each other, I have to put him above Deku.
So I think he's really good with Relentless Barrage out of Nomu's kit. But let me put some hotness in your ear because I saw this on a Discord channel. So the one check, right? The one check, right? Okay,
yeah, okay,
let me
the
tell
one
you this.
check.
The one check. You flip 2 burst speed off the one check.
I'm the one who typed this.
Oh, you're the one who typed it.
Yeah,
okay, so
no, you tell him.
Right,
I did type it.
So
I was like, what happens the first time?
It's called double front takedown. That's what it's called, right? Double front takedown. So you put 2 of those in your discard pile. They burn for 4 because they went into your discard pile.
No, double front takedown's the attack.
Yeah,
you
put burst speed. You put 2 burst speed into your discard pile off this card. Like, for the highest high rolls that you could ever possibly high roll.
You have to play the Jiro card to look at the
to
put
stack
2 on top. Yeah.
Nice. So you burn them for 4. They go to your stage. And then you
blow
pop
them
them for another 4, and you're just like, this is the freest stuff, and then you lose the game anyway.
It's 10 damage off your one check.
And it is a punch, so it enables Relentless Barrage. It is a Fury, so it enables all of Bakugo's synergies. It enables all of Deku's synergies. It's Infinity, so either of those characters can play it. All right, onward.
But Jiro is our next character.
I like Jiro. I love her. She is definitely waifu, but I think she's C tier.
I want to put her in S tier so bad, dude. I want to look at that and go, these numbers are good. And I think she's a little better than C tier. She's definitely better than Bakugo.
Oh, she's certainly better than Bakugo. So
I'm putting
just
her
for posterity.
No. I'm putting her above
up her in B
Red
tier.
Riot. I'm putting her above Red Riot. She's not.
So we're actually going to shift her here.
Yeah.
My biggest reason I don't think she's that good is I think her kit is clunky.
Yeah.
I think her kit is clunky. She feels like, oh, we really like Momo as a character, and we want Momo to be playable. But at the same time, we don't want Momo to break anything, so we can't overpower another character's kit because then she just has like all 2 characters worth of support. Mm-hmm. It just feels like her kit's so disjointed because they wanted to give her a Flash theme, but they also wanted to give her that friendship theme between her and Momo. Like she's just getting pulled in too many directions.
They went with the art. They don't have art of her doing her quirk.
Yeah,
like all of her attacks are like, I have a sword.
Yeah, because she's a reconnaissance character. It's really hard to be aggressive with a reconnaissance character.
That's what's weird to me. They gave her pump stats and then specifically designed it so that there's only like 2 attacks in the set where you can get both. And that's why my version, I actually don't play the Momo friendship bullshit. I play the one symbol Momo doesn't have, which is air. And I am all in on knowing my checks and drawing what I want.
Yeah, her ultra rare is incredible.
Like I've seen Chris Bromley play Jiro where I was like, I don't believe in these numbers. What am I going to get? 1 speed and then 2 damage and then 3 speed and then 4/4 on like that attack. But that 1/4/4 attack matters so much in this format. Little +2 speeds and those little +1s on those flash attacks are such a big deal that I want to put her really high. But she doesn't actually synergize with her kit because they went, wow, Momo's really good. We can't give this character more damage. So I'm with you on that. I definitely think she has the most potential to grow. That once per turn enhance, to look at both players' decks and stack their deck and mess up their draw and their combat.
Fortune teller abilities are baller. But why would they give a character that they said was the Flash character of the set and enhance? Would it be too broken as a response so she can use it on her own cards?
All right, Momo. We just talked a lot about Momo.
Momo, yeah. So Momo.
You get to put Momo on.
Yaoi Rosa. I'll just get this out of the way and shout outs to Marco. She's bananas in Standard. But we're not here to talk about Standard.
I'm putting it right here. I'm pretty sure she's just banned in Standard, bro.
Probably. Or like either you have to ban her or you have to ban like Cormorant and Elk Shield and probably like Meteor as well. But let's not get too deep into Standard because they don't want us talking about Standard.
Anything with the weapon keyword going into my card pool.
There is no Standard in Bossing, say.
Yeah.
So Momo in Universes only, I think she sits in B tier as well. But I don't think the weapon synergies are there just yet. I think her rate is fine. I think being able to tutor her weapon kill out of nowhere is fine because, tutors are never bad. Discard tutors are never bad. But I think there are going to be characters who will just push past her and overwhelm her resources, and she's just going to either put herself so far in a hole just surviving, or she's not going to be able to use her abilities, and then there will be characters who are more free than her. I think she's costed appropriately for what she's doing, but I think what she's doing in My Hero Only is not good enough right now. To be fair, her attacks are very good, but the weapon synergies you're looking for in her foundation base aren't there.
Can you actually go down a foundation every turn as a 6-hander and feel good about it?
I don't know.
Like is that part of your game
So
plan?
do you think she's closer to C tier than B tier?
I think she's closer to C tier.
Right.
I think she's better than Bakugo because that selection is nuts. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Once per turn, remove a committed foundation to fully block an attack. Nutty. That's nutty.
But she doesn't do anything truly abusive.
Her rate of destroy a foundation for 2 speed to build one from the card pool is like, okay, what happens when you remove a foundation? You pick up your weapon foundation, right? You pick up your weapon asset, whatever. You
Quick
block
creation.
with it. Right, you block with it. Then your opponent's like, cool, pass. It's your opponent, you're doing what you want, and your opponent's doing what they want, and you're both happy with the outcome, but your opponent has progressed their board state better, most likely.
Yeah.
So I just don't think her rate's that good.
All right, so next one. The freak himself.
I don't know this fucking character, bro.
Nomu.
I don't know what his fucking deal is. Is he just supposed to be stronger than All Might? And then All Might was like, just kidding, I'm a protagonist.
So where are you putting Nomu?
Oh, man. I
put him in C tier. I put him C tier.
Yeah, end of C tier is fine.
So I think like all that damage is cool. What else does he do?
If you respond and reduce my damage to 6 in this format...
6 is the biggest natural damage in the format, and when you're in...
Except Pillar Swing.
Pillar Swing's not here yet. And Pillar Swing can't even go below 8 anyways.
Yeah, man.
So...
he's losing to Denki, like, every time.
Like...
Are you going to have a foundation to commit when Denki's around?
Well,
your character.
Like, so many of these characters are going to look at his response and be like, cool, we're not doing that.
He's the nightmare more than the Kuwabara. Like, I hate that I keep going back to the Standard reference, I know. But, like, his ability to just gob damage on everything, to go +5 damage, +4 damage, is very powerful. And you're going to see a lot of people win games. But those are going to be games...
Against bad players.
No, well, even against good players, those are going to be games you could have won with any character, right? Like, that's the hard part. When you have a deck that's winning games... and you're only winning in the situations where your opponent's tapped out, your opponent can't block everything. Like, you know, like it doesn't matter what your opponent's input was, they were in a position not to interact. You're going to find that, like, a Denki attack could have done anything but a Jiro turn, you know, anything with stats, right? Even Jiro has stats. Like, so like any character that's putting some damage will probably get there. I don't think you're going to see too many games where Nomu's like, here's a 10 damage attack you can't block, here's another, that's 20, I win. Like, you know, I don't think you're going to get that far with this character.
Yeah, I don't think you get that far either. Like, his destruction sub-theme is fine. I think, like, his foundations are cool.
He's like the main character where I want to play his stuff and other people's.
Yeah, like you parcel out his stuff to other characters, and those other characters get a whole lot stronger. But I'm not scared of Nomus. I'm never gonna be scared of a Nomu across from the table.
If you put a 5 hand size Nomu and a 5 hand size All Might across the table from me, which one is gonna hurt me?
Yeah. So 5 hand size All Might versus 5 hand size Nomu. Who do you take? Who do you want to be at that table?
I want to be the guy who's drawing cards.
Yeah, I want to be the guy who's drawing cards.
I want to be the guy who puts 30 damage on an attack,
well,
not 5.
Then he responds, and your 30 damage is nothing. Like that, like flavor win there. Like Nomu is created to no sell All Might,
right?
And then All Might sells you anyways,
right? But that's my point. Is like you're gonna get to a point where he's tapped out, he's stunned out. You're gonna get to a point where taking 6 isn't good enough anymore, right? Like, if you think about it, with his response, he can no-sell 6 attacks if you pump him, right? Like, he can just not block 6
but
attacks.
you can also just not pump it above 6.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, theoretically, you have to hit him 6 times, is what I'm saying. And that's if you max out your damage. If I'm looking at this format, and I'm thinking I can no-sell 6 attacks, like, I can play anybody. I can play anybody I want. There's nobody that's looking at that I'm looking at and going, man, I want to be Nomu so I can just get hit 6 times instead of blocking.
Right.
You know?
Right. So I think we're on to another one who we're going to put higher here.
The waifu.
I think she goes S tier, and I don't think it's even open to discussion.
Ooh, I think it's definitely an A tier. I think she gets gate-kept by other people on her symbols.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. So I think the Charger high attack is like not that big of a restriction. I think recycling the attack is not going to be as good as it sounds. The clearing the card pool is great, but she's one of the few characters that while she cheats that 7 hand size, I just don't think that. I just don't see her putting together the home run comet turns that other characters do. I will say this: if you manage to make a mono high Froppy deck, I will put her in the sideboard. You can find a mono high Froppy air deck, like, or is it life? Yeah,
it's
if you can.
life.
If you can find air and life, if you can find a Froppy deck that plays all charge high attacks too, like I'll totally sideboard her for the stat lineup, but I just don't see +3 speed recycle this. Like, I want to spend. Remember we were talking about you're going to need momentum if you want to OTK. I want to spend this momentum in this format. I don't want to pick up another attack. And while that is statistically better most of the time, don't get me wrong, I want to build up more resources because I think this is going to be like you build up to your big attack. Like, you're going to string out into like something really powerful.
I think her poke game is super safe.
Insanely good.
Yeah, like if she pokes, that's a momentum, no matter what. Her first poke is always a momentum. She's not immediately reliant on only charging up for a home run. When she does, her home runs are incredible. Mm-hmm. I think she generates every resource that you want. I think she makes you a momentum. She makes you an extra attack on offense, which will often cycle back into another momentum in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine poking with Kaminari's power-up attack, where you flip it face down and you make another momentum, and then you follow with another attack, and you pick up the power-up attack again, and you just swing back. Like, suddenly you have 5 momentum. And then you can just sit there, and you're like, okay, all these momentums are now meteor showers. Or all of these momentum, and now I have 6 momentum for home run comet, or something like that. I think what she does is so safe, while also being so valuable, and I think I think she has a great long game kill option in just recycling meteor showers, and I think she has great pivot turns where you just go, oh shit, I need to kill you now, and she can just kill you with home run comment. Like so many characters where if you're like Tim Keefe and you can just download the entire deck on the first see-through and you know exactly what your opponent's doing, you never have to play scared of that ever again.
And in this format, it's going to be easier than ever.
Yeah, I think Ochaco has so many things that you have to respect where she can just kill you out of nowhere because she can play 4 meteor showers in a turn. And then, surprise, she also has a comet, or she can play, you know, shower, power up, add power up, pull another shower off the, you know, put it in, pick it up, shower, get another shower, and then comet, and she still has 3 momentum left. Like, I think she assembles kill turns out of nowhere because she can just spend a turn, poke you, store it in the momentum.
Oh, you don't want to block this zone.
Yeah, spend a turn, poke you, put it in the momentum. Spend a turn, poke you, put it in the momentum. And then out of nowhere, she's like, here's Go Beyond. Go Beyond is any attack that I want it to be because I have the momentum for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's really, really good. I think everybody needs to respect her for what she does. Her defensive options are also great because she has life's defensive options.
She gets to pull back that attack that she responded to, so she has like the 7 hand size on defense.
Yeah, she's not the greatest defensive character, but I think she's a character who has a game for the short term where if she needs to just step on the gas, she can check 5s and kill you. Or if the games go long, she can just play 20 attacks.
See, this is sounding very B tier to me. The things you're saying, like, she's not the best defensive. She has to play 2 attacks to get full value. She only has the numbers on 1 attack, and it's the one that you're using to recur. So I think she's got clunky hands. She's got low damage on her charge attacks, and the attacks that she wants from Denki are not Blitz Rush. I don't think she plays a 6.
No,
so
she doesn't. Her kills are Meteor Shower and Home Run.
Right. So I think she's really lacking the damage outside of Home Run Comet's the form, discard a card, add it back, right?
No. Home Run Comet is +1 to its powerful rating for every charge or high attack in your pool. And then it also makes a momentum out of your foundations.
Right. Yeah, so outside of that one, I really don't respect anything she's doing, right? Like, that's my viewpoint is I'm waiting for the big haymakers. I'm waiting for the recursion loop. I'm waiting for her to get to a point where she's winning the game. And to me, that's just 1 turn slow, right? Like, she's on that level of I have such a great, fantastic game plan. I have these great, fantastic cards. But it's going to take her more than 1 turn to do it. And I think when you have like the S tier, I think the ability to take an average turn and go balls to the wall is much better than, like, that's why I rate Denki so high. I think he can take a very average looking hand and go, wait a second, I can play this. Like, he can take average 5 attacks, like 4, generically bland sort of attacks with, no backup, and he can go cash it all in. I can still play another card after, clear my pool. I think Ochaco plays too slow.
So she's at least A tier.
I think she's at least A tier.
We're not putting her any lower than A tier, at least.
Yeah, she's got a lot of B tier things about her, but she has the most important card game thing, like anything in a card game that you want, which is, I'm going to pick up this card. Yeah. Like, you know what you're picking up. Another thing that I will say is variable difficulty for Ochaco, and this is very personal, but depending on who you are as a person and how much you like to commit things to memory, if you are not
tracking your momentum,
if you're not using cards that go face up, you're going to fucking pick up the wrong card once and you're going to hate this character.
Kevin Brober, if this is the card that I think it is, I just win the game.
This
isn't the card I thought it was.
At some point, you're going to pick up the wrong thing. I've been picking up my momentum blankly a lot.
That's such an important thing that doesn't one of her foundations just do that? Let you look and flip one up. Yeah.
So,
so they know. They know that the mental fatigue is certainly there because you're not allowed to write down your momentum. You have to track it uniformly.
Well, no, you are allowed to make notes of it as long as your opponent can read it.
Yeah, all right.
I believe you're allowed to make notes of the order and shit. Right. It's just at some point in a 40-minute card game, you're going to go this one.
All right. All right, Icy Hot.
Icy Hot. Fuck
At least
this
A
character.
tier.
Oh no,
If
he's
not S
C
tier.
tier.
He's C tier? Why is he C tier?
Because he has a commit cost that counts ranged attacks in your discard pile, so he is not going to be online early.
I don't think
He
that's
is-
the ability you care about. I think his negate is the ability you care about.
Well, you asked me why he's not high tier, so I'm not going to say his great fucking ability on his response is not why he's high tier. Now, that being said, the reason the R commit is just too much. It's too much for me.
You think it's
Like, I think as far as all the characters go, he's got the worst defensive ability, quote unquote. I mean, the cancel is very strong, and it will keep you alive. But as a 7, like, I want that ability on a 6-hander, bro.
with extra health to buffer it?
I want to be able to cancel your powerful and not have to block. Shoto has to cancel it and then also block because it's a partial or something. You know what I mean? Like, if he was a 6-hander with those abilities, to commit 1 foundation, you're longer into the game. You have that extra turn. Like, Ochaco, if she was a 7-hander, I think she'd be one of the only characters in the world that could be a 7-hander and be worse. Because of, like, that tempo that she wants to play, right? So for Todoroki, I think being the 7-hander really kind of limits him because he clearly has a game plan that he wants to get to.
I think he's slow.
He clearly wants to mill those cards. But that's it. He's slow. I think being 7 hand size doesn't actually help him that much because it's not letting him... He doesn't have the acceleration of milling like we're used to, so he feels very slow.
Like,
So how many attacks are in your Todoroki deck, bro?
yeah, at what, like, what's the threshold? Like, you really want it to be commit 1 for 4 damage, and by then you have 8 attacks in your discard pile. And how are you getting attacks into your hand? I don't think, as a control character, I don't think he's as good as Aizawa. I think in the hands of, like, Garrett Brett or something like that, he's going to make a lot of people miserable. But I don't think he's good enough.
I think
be
as
a
soon
pillar.
as... Sorry, continue.
No, I just don't think he's good enough to be a pillar.
Right. I think as soon as he responds to cancel your thing...
You just shrug and kill him.
You feel good. That's my beef. Like, when I go into a turn, obviously there's things I don't want him to cancel. But as soon as he cancels something, I'm free.
Now,
I can do whatever I want.
you can also use the cancel offensively, though, like Twinkle did in Standard.
And his damage pump is not playable while committed.
Yeah, so you pump, and then they try to use your defensive piece. He would be, I think,
It's iffy,
like
bro.
if his pump was playable while committed, I think he'd be A tier easy. All right, so the goodest good boy in the Everest of goodest boys, we've got
I call him Pointer.
the goodest good
The
boy.
hand point.
He's such a good boy. I love Iida so much. I think he's A tier.
Really?
Yeah, I think Iida is A tier. Like the fact that you get priority to start going things, like you could just say no on some of the things, and that he has a card in his kit that just lets you say no.
Yeet.
It's a 2/4. You're done. Like, and then because there are just certain attacks where you don't want them to get an enhanced step, so you just go blocks. That's awesome. And then like you put his first R on Recipro Burst, and the opponent just dies. Like you pull some tap out stuff from Todoroki, you walk them into a break or two so they overextend, you Recipro Burst, you tap them out and they just die. I think he struggles a little bit against characters like Aizawa, because Aizawa is going to immediately identify that you never get to...
No.
Because
you get to respond first.
You get priority.
Yeah, you get to
priority.
go...
You get to R on... No, if you're the active player...
Yeah, Iida goes first, he responds, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Never mind.
Aida is one of the best matchups for Aizawa.
Yeah.
Like, because he responds first for his offense, and then if Aizawa blinks you so you can't respond on defense,
that's fine.
You're fucking cool with that because he's not...
Yeah, so, like, he's got, like, I think, like, just 3 speed is big in this format. And then if the opponent wants to interact, it's even worse. Like, the flexibility of using that response as a way to push your finisher through or set up for your finisher is great. Like, imagine he just wants to poke you. 3 speed on a poke. You're like, do you want to block this 7 speed for 4 damage? They're like, shit, what if he's got follow-up?
Aida's ability to lock you out from one attack, remember I was talking about, I think we're going to have a lot of games where you can just go all in on one big attack. He definitely has the best kit, for, like the best obvious character ability for that. I would personally, I'd put him like low B. personally, because I don't think he has sort of like that backup like with Jiro where there's a mismatch. I don't think he quite has the damage. This is the character I tried out the most once they spoiled everything. You know, this is the character I spent the most time building decks for early because I thought that +3, -3 and the ability to go first and the ability to not get fucking dunked by Aizawa because of the response, like the double response kind of thing. Like, I thought all of that was going to be super S double D fuck you tier.
And it's just not good enough?
And then every single thing is like, I can take a vanilla damage attack. Every deck that you're going to build in My Hero Academia is going to not care if you hit them once every turn. Like, that is not a stable game plan. Because there are so many ultra rares, there are so many powerful infinity super secret rare cards that you cannot believe that you will survive to see those cards. You cannot believe that you will bank all that stuff. That's why Ochaco to me is lower tier than Denki. Like, I think the one turn pop off is very, very real, and you are sculpting to it. They're gonna hit you with the same 7 mid 5, right? And then Aida's backup is gonna be, oh, here's a 7 mid 5 again. Where that All Might is gonna go, no, this is powerful now. Like, the Froppy character is not going to hit you with the one attack.
No, she's going to hit you with 6.
Yeah, you know, the Ochaco that hits you the same amount as the Iida is going to be able to buy that attack back, right? So I think that Iida gets to the same place that a lot of characters get to. He's going to be a gatekeeper. So if A tier is the gatekeeper slot, that's actually perfect. Yeah. He's going to keep people out of A tier because they can't deal with his response. They can't poke effectively. But he's never going to be S tier because I think all he can do is poke until you're low enough.
Yeah. Speaking of gatekeepers, I think we're at the king gatekeeper of the format.
This is going to be a character that people want banned, and they're wrong.
I think he sits as king of A tier and will occasionally approach S tier status. Tomura Shigaraki.
I think he's worse than Nomu.
You think he's worse than Nomu?
I think he's worse than Nomu, bro. No, dude, Nomu at least is like every attack is better.
I think this character is great. I think you will be able to craft game states where you walk your opponent into like a giant ice wall or an ice storm.
If you could choose the foundation, I'd put him right where you put him. Your opponent chooses the foundation.
It's already foundation, though. A very polarizing character.
Yeah, I think he's C tier. I think he's A tier when you draw his attack and if your opponent, and if you got to choose, if your opponent didn't.
See, and
I think he's fucking
I think
bad.
he mega gatekeeps some people.
No, he absolutely will, because like when you play against Shigaraki and he's like, oh, here's a high attack, and you have a mid block, you're going to be like, wow, I'm going to take 10 from this, and that's a lot. But like...
Yeah, when he blocks, he gets to ready his character.
I thought he had a...
Like, if you ever get to do that, like... You're just diamonds.
Right.
You're just diamonds.
So Shigaraki was the character where I looked at and I went, oh, every character's going to have the turn. Like, when Shigaraki pulls his attack that readies him, there's not many characters better than Shigaraki. However, when those characters are better than Shigaraki, there is just when they draw their ultra rare. Like, when they draw their one card.
Yeah, so, I don't think his ultra rare is very good either.
No, I don't think so. But the one that readies your character when you block with
Decaying Grasp, yeah.
That one is nuts, and that one is going to make your opponent go, fuck playing this game, and they're going to want to ban him. Because if you fully block with that and you destroy one, then ready it, they're going to be like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Keep losing foundations? However, I think he is gated once per turn. Commit. Non-throw attack has to deal damage, and you have to completely block an attack, and your opponent chooses. There's just too many things that if you took all the weights off, he'd be banned. But you put these shackles on him, and it's one of those things where you just change one thing about a character. They go from bannable, unbeatable, to unplayable, no one touches him. I think he's not unplayable. I think he is just very difficult. So a good player is going to make him look really good. Your average player is going to go, man, I wish I had the right block zone.
Yeah.
I wish you would play more mid attacks. Like, shit like that.
Okay. All right, your waifu.
Slam dunk that shit number one. She's better than Eraserhead, bro.
You think she's better than Eraserhead?
She's better than Eraserhead. She's got better stats.
I'm not going to say anything because I'm agree with you here. We talked about this heading into this in pre-production. You can just have 5 minutes.
Dude, she's so insane on numbers. Like, They gave her the damage pump, and you don't get to interact with this character. You don't get to block all of her attacks. You don't get to know when it's going to end. When you see attack turns in My Hero Academia, you're going to go, okay, here's an attack. We're playing. You're going to go the second attack, you're like, all right, it's spicy, we're engaged. The third attack, you're going to start going, all right, this motherfucker's committed. This guy's going, where's my life at? The fourth attack, you're going to go, why are there no cards in her card pool? This isn't fair. She's got all these face downs, and they're just helping her. They're making her deal more damage. They're being readied by her effects. They are usable on defense with her kit and with other air cards to block. Like, as soon as she has rescue completed and she goes -2 speed, I'm going to block this on a 6, and then I'm going to check a 5 and commit Froppy. You play your next attack, she's going to flip that committed foundation to ready Froppy, right? She will kick her block from the card pool. She is now back to where she was, but she committed 1 foundation to block that attack. And it was a fucking 8 speed. Yeah, it was like an 8. Well, you've got the one you committed for the -2. But so she committed 2, readied 1, it got flipped. But you're going to be in a place where I think the only character who's going to fuck on her is maybe Denki. And even then, you're like, okay, I think air is just as good as water. I don't really know. Like, that's a problem. Like, all her shit's good. Life is fucking insanely good in this set. If you want to have a Froppy where you got to deal 29, 32 damage to kill her.
Easy.
Oh my goodness, bro. Like, this character might get banned because she's got the team up attack that is better in her than in Tokoyami. She's got the ability to block forever as long as she's got face ups to flip and keep going. She's got the speed hate on, I think, all of her symbols, really. I think there's all quality. I know Air has a 0 diff that gives you +2 to block, but she's going to have access to Todoroki's ranged attacks to draw cards. She's going to have the ability to put those attacks in the discard pile that I don't think Todoroki has. Yeah.
Yeah, the if you have 6 range, draw 2, it's going to be bananas in her.
She has access to the best breaker cards in the set.
Todoroki stuff.
This character is by far better than all the others. I would even put Eraserhead and Ochaco in A below her.
And have her sit
and have her as her by herself, if not for one factor. There is no, like, hard cancel. There's no revoke. Like, if she's got the symbols for it, if she had just an action card that just noped, that she could have access to, I think she would be far heads and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, so on to this guy, Yuga Aoyama. I think he sits C tier.
Yuga?
I think he's fine. I don't even want to talk about him. I think he's he gets to Hadouken you when he really wants to because he just gets to make his last attack free. But that's everyone in the set. We're now reaching into the characters that we know from quirk packs and tournament packs.
Facebook spoilers,
and then the very naughty TCG player leaks. And we're actually going to talk about those.
All right.
Because we've got the DLCs on tap here. So we're going to go with All Might True Form first. I think this guy sits A tier. I think the 730 thing is a trap. I think if you just look at it because... Like, 730 as a base stat line is insane, but he's never actually starting at 730. I think the big thing is that he's All Might, so he gets the All Might synergy cards. And you'll just body people, unless they're known.
I just feel like every time people say stack another All Might, I'm like, bro, I could have been that All Might the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, so this character is cool, because if you really like All Might, you can play 16 All Mights in your deck.
Are you going to put him closer in B tier, or do you think he's lower? Do you think he's worse than Big Might?
I think he's the worst All Might.
You think he's the worst All Might?
I think he's the worst All Might. I don't think that means a lot. I can't build a deck that is like all the All Mights.
But you can if your name is Teodoro Ruiz. Shout out, that guy is real active on Facebook. We appreciate your hype.
I just can't see myself... The enhance is cool. You can go through your deck real fast. That's what I see. When I see him, I think discard, draw 1. You can go through your deck really quick. But 2 of the All Mights you can form are going to draw you cards, right? Like, one of the All Mights has draw 2. The other has draw 3. I think for for My Hero Academia format, I think he's pretty bad. I think that he can take one extra hit as a 7-hander, which is nuts. I think you have discard a card for 3 damage, and then another set of All Might abilities. That's pretty good. Why would I not be the other All Might?
Right.
Why would I not build that All Might deck if I want to put that All Might on?
Do you put him down C tier? Do you throw him
Bottom
in
of
D
C.
tier? Bottom of C tier.
He's definitely better than Deku.
Yeah, I think he's better than Deku.
And he's definitely better than Hanta.
All right, so if we're scrolling down here, we get to Woodman. C tier.
Oh,
Kamui Woods. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, D tier.
D tier? Really?
Okay,
a
look,
7-hand size who readies himself on defense?
After an attack is blocked, ready this character. Who else is doing that? On air, on water, on 2 of his symbols. Sue. You know who else is doing that? Nobody, because you're not playing Kamui Woods. You have to block enough attacks that I'm wondering why you have damage reduction. You know, like the damage, if it was -2 per, whatever. Offensively, this character is annoying as shit, but defensively, I think he's very overhyped.
And I can agree. All right, on to the next one. One of the pack characters. We got Mashara Ojiro. I think he's C tier.
In My Hero, yeah.
I think
in Standard, he's the secret sauce that the Earth symbol has been looking for that whole flip thing, because damage is easy to find. But for My Hero, he's bad.
Yeah, he's just uninteresting, in my opinion. Like, he's really great with Recipro Burst.
At least...
But I think, like...
Your opponent gets to choose the foundation.
Yeah, when you're flipping, but like the enhance once per game. Why is it once per game? Who cares? Whatever. Next.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you could choose, like, there's so many ways to make this character A tier in an instant, and they intentionally did not make him really good. Like,
all right. On to the next. We got
Shoji.
Meizo Shoji. I think this character is A tier with a bullet.
All right, tell me what the fuck does this character do? Because I've never seen this character.
Okay, so he
looks like he has bat wings.
He's got extra limbs, and they're like wings and stuff. He's usually just a piggyback character from Mineta in comic relief in the anime.
That makes sense.
But his form is you can pick up any card from your discard pile.
I know what the card does. I'm just saying in the anime, I don't get the flavor. It looks like he's got wings, and he has he's got a Naruto haircut.
He's a bit player, like Phil Birch's.
Ooh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. But
that makes perfect sense.
The character is very similar to Phil Birch in that on your off turns, you're just picking up 0 difficulty foundations for free and being on a +1 hand size. And then when you're just looking to murder someone, you actually just get to murder someone. Like, his sculpt is great. Like, yeah, you're losing some life here, but the sculpt is great.
So here's the thing. We talked about how being like 730 with All Might's just not that, you ignore that, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy is like 729, but you got to pay some life and go down too, right?
Yeah, so it's start about 724.
So would you rather be 730 and you're All Might and you have All Mights in your deck, and once per game you can become another All Might? Or would you rather be 729 and pick up whatever foundation you want, including...
If you're asking me if I'd rather be True Form or Meizo, I'll be Meizo every single time.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So I can put Meizo like B tier because he can pick up whatever he wants, but I don't think there are things powerful enough that you're going to want to pick up an attack more than once. Like, if you pick up an attack and pay 4 life and then do it again, you're like right into that, oh my god, I'm fucking...
Slap him with them rando guns.
Yeah.
In Standard.
I've seen that. I've seen people speculate.
All right, so now we're getting over to Jeremy Ray's waifu.
Everyone's actual
waifu.
Because you can't say you don't like the slime.
I mean, Mina is great. I also think she's great in Standard.
Oh, man.
I don't know where to put her in My Hero only because the Yahtzee factor is just a little bit lower. I'd start her at B tier. I don't think she's anything less than B tier. I think the randomness of her ability is going to be a little bit difficult.
I'm putting her in C tier.
But the fact that she if she goes second and she builds like 4 foundations, and on our last one she just gets to slap you with an attack for free because she just plays the card. She doesn't have to check for it.
But you do have to check an attack to do that. And that is where I find her to be C tier.
C tier.
Because you think about it, right? And you're like, wow, after you check a card, I can discard a card to play any card I want. What is that card going to be it is probably going to be, and it has to be a form. If it was defensive, it'd be obviously way better. But, you know, if you're like, I want to play my next attack, you had to check an attack to get there. So, yeah, it's free. Yeah, you get to, you know, trade in a card, transmute the card. But how often are you going to be in a position where just playing that one card is, you know, like worth checking?
The level of control is not where you want it to be.
On to the next one, we've got, let's see here, we've got another waifu. We've got Mount Lady, and I think she's never lower than B tier. Yeah. I can't really put her in A tier because I think she's a little slow.
I think she's a lot slow.
But
I think she's bad.
Her lowest floor is she gets some momentum. It's any momentum from the discard pile.
If you don't have a Mount Lady.
Yeah, so you just only
her lowest is getting a fucking Mount Lady. I'm gonna play this character.
She's the only one in your deck. You start with her.
She's the only one. I'm never putting another Mount Lady because commit, get a momentum is better than doing this bullshit fake stacking.
Really? You don't think stack up a Mount Lady and suddenly all your momentum are +4 damage if you really want to?
Fuck no. That is not high tier ability. In My Hero only, I'm not putting this on a throw. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, how often am I going to just go cash it in on a reliable attack?
There.
I don't see her shining. This is a perfect example, I think, of a deck that is going to perfectly do its own thing and sometimes win. But I think the rate of both of her abilities, I think, are bad, like below average. I think commit to stack one is slow. I think discard a momentum for 4 damage is slow. I think discard a momentum for 6 damage is almost unrecognizable, right? Like getting to 2 and then getting to 3 doesn't feel good. Getting to 4 probably feels okay. But if I had to fucking do it through 3 turns of committing my character to get there, like...
How have you not just won already?
How have you not gotten smoked by, like, Tokoyami, by Froppy, by Eraserhead, by any of the All Mights?
Now, we're going into the DLC characters here. They were spoiled on TCG Player, so we're going to talk about them here. We're going to go with what I think is the best All Might.
Yes.
Easily.
I'm so glad you said. I was so afraid, because I think he's going to be the least popular.
I think he's the best All Might easily.
He's the least flashy.
Like, having a built-in momentum outlet on your character when most of the momentum outlets in this format are EX and powerful is game-changing for a lot of things, because a lot of characters are going to get momentum and then they're not going to know what to do with it. But the fact that he can do this on any attack to draw a card, that's incredible. Like, he hits you, and then that's still a card in his hand. It's a blind card, but it's still a card in his hand. Great. 2 damage on his attack all the time. Great. If they block it, it's 4 on the follow-up. Great. I think he sits A tier.
I think he sits A tier. I think he's like the nuance, like, sort of... So here's what's weird. I think he's like a good starter deck character. If you can pay the cost of his abilities, it's not really bad to do that. You know, we were talking about Todoroki has, like, the mill in this... You know, he's, like, the only self-mill guy in the set. Once you get to the DLC, here's a guy who uses all of Todoroki's attacks better than him. Here's a guy who, out the gate, goes turn 2, plus 2 damage. You want to block it? Get fucked. You know, and he mills better than Todoroki. He mills on your opponent's turn. On every attack, he mills 4 cards. So he's going to use Todoroki's cards better than Todoroki. Every time he hits you with an attack, he's plus 1 hand size. Every time I hit you, I can discard that momentum later to draw a card. That is going to be insanely powerful in this format.
Yep. On to the next one, we've got Tenya, who sits in D tier. I don't think he goes anywhere else. I do not like this DLC Tenya Iida. He's a 7 hand sizer who gets to transform a card for a random card off the top of his deck. In order to do it on the opponent's turn, he gets to give the opponent speed. Bad.
I think people are going to buff your attack to give it minus 2 damage, and then they're going to regret it.
Sure. Right, and then we have the waifu again. We got Froppy. Enhance, if your attack is not blocked, your next attack this turn gets plus 2 speed.
Ooh, tell me again.
Enhance your attack discard one card from your rival's card pool. Your ranged attack gets +4 damage.
That's right. We're keeping both card pools clear.
I think she's B tier. I don't think she's nearly as good as 7 hand size Froppy. I think she gives the opponent too much control. I think she's
conditional abilities.
I think she hits really hard. 4 damage is awesome, but the opponent's like, thanks for the -1 prog. I think she sits. I think she's either B or C tier.
I think you could have, like, if they could have flipped those numbers, maybe, I don't know.
And she's
getting 2 speed to then get rid of 1 speed, right? Like, if it's it's one of those things where it's like you're getting 2 speed, but then if they have a card in their card pool and you discard it, it's making it 1 easier to block.
She's also locked to ranged attacks.
I would put her all the way down at C or D.
C, yeah.
Because I think she's the best aggro character. Like, just if you're looking straight aggro properties. But that's because it's because she doesn't have anything else. Everything that she does is when she's attacking. And that's never going to get you anywhere against people who didn't draw poorly. Like, if they don't have a bad hand that they can't deal with, they're going to be able to navigate your turn.
Right. DLC Ochaco.
This character is polarizing.
I like her. I think
female 5 hand size. We were talking about that earlier.
I like fatty boombalati swing characters, and I think like once she connects again. Like so you pillar swing, right? They block it. You're like, cool, goes to my momentum. And then you follow up with like a Gale Force punch on a 6. You're like, great. I'm already high rolling here because I've passed 2/6 difficulties.
I'm a 5-hander who's playing 2 attacks. Let's go.
Yeah, and then that connects and it goes back to your hand, and you get to play that on a 4 now because she gives your next check too. She has a defensive ability in that she gets to give something -3, which is awesome, and she also helps push the other attacks in. So like Gale Force punch is an 8/6 when just off of her. I don't think she's as great as Ochaco 1, but I think she has a lot of potential because I am always just super high on just let's check 5s and let's kill people.
Which is going to be all over this format.
Yeah. So I'd put her at B tier. I don't think she's A tier because I think you have to do something really, really special as a 5-hander to be in like A tier and higher. I don't think she quite gets there.
She's definitely like one of the reasons why you can't attack on turn 1. Because if you just go, here's an attack, and you can't block it, and she picks it up and goes, here's an attack. Yeah. If you don't put stats, you have to have a nutty once per game or once per turn. And so she kind of fits both. She's got like a really nutty kind of once per turn thing, and she's got stats on both sides of the board. If I hit you with anything with this character, I'm probably picking it up and playing it again. You know, I don't think there's going to be that much selection for her, and being a 5-hand size is really going to hurt.
Yep, I can agree. And then they confirmed that Gen Con All Might is also going to be legal in this format because he's in the packs. If you don't know what he does, how...
You're new.
You're new. He draws 2 cards by committing a foundation, and then he also gives speed or damage.
Based on your opponent's hand.
Opponent hand size, yes.
It's another one of those cards in My Hero Academia where you don't have full control.
He gets a resounding meh from me. I think he sits B tier in My Hero only.
I put him below Momo. I think Momo's way better than him, but I don't think Momo's like that good.
Would you
the only thing that's throwing me off really bad on this tier list is I think All Might is way below Momo. That All Might.
This All Might goes like he's above Nomu though, right?
Yeah, he's above. I mean, we're not going super specific.
Nomu is like all the way down here in C tier, right?
I could put Momo in D tier at this point, but the damage pump is thick. Like, I could talk all kinds of shit about Nomu, and then turn 2, he's like, here's 3 low attacks, and I die, and I'm like, where's all that good shit now? Here's 30 damage on 3 attacks, where's all that good shit now? Like, you know.
Yeah, but that's a high roll.
It's
gonna happen.
That's me not drawing low blocks, right? Like, that's yeah, and again, I think that's really, like, you see this tier list, and these characters in C tier function. They are good cards. It's not like other card games where you see a card on, you know, again, beyond B tier, where you go, that's never going to be played.
These are no giant worms.
Yes, right. There's no like blank 4 difficulty, 4/4 attack that does nothing and only exists to show you that a 4 difficulty attack should be better. Like, there's so many cards in other card games that are like, here is this level of card. It has these vanilla stats, and everything with a text box is instantly better than it. And that just doesn't exist. What the C tier does mean is that your game plan is going to be harder to put together, and your numbers are going to be kind of harder to count than the higher up characters. Like Froppy and Eraserhead, they have the numbers all over their kit. They have the numbers on the character, and they have the resources to, deny you the ability to play your game, or to just like the encumbrance level of trying to play against Froppy is insane. It is insane trying to block this character all day.
Fair enough.
But so that's really, when you look at like all the characters in C, you look at all the characters in B, in other games that would mean they're not
playable. You don't bring these characters.
Yeah.
That in other games it would be don't bring these characters.
Right.
We're not saying that for this. This is just our personal opinion of how we feel about these cards. Even after we discussed it, I still disagree with some of these placements. You still disagree with some of these placements.
Well,
But
we did it together. We didn't do one person.
For sake of cohesiveness, this is where we're putting the tier list.
So, going forward, taking this tier list with a huge grain of salt, who do you want to build from this tier list the most?
I mean, I am going to just automatically default to my girl, Ochaco. She was the character I was most excited about when I first saw her, because I get very big Zoe vibes from her when
Recursion. That's the card game.
I'm always a sucker for recursion.
Yeah.
Second would probably... I don't know. Certainly not DLC Iida. But I really, really, really...
Is he pound for pound the worst?
I think far and away Iida's the worst.
Pound for pound.
Pound for pound, I think. Like, you look at him and you just scratch your head.
I don't know. I'm most excited to actually build a Denki deck, because I think the once per games are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love to just be like, all right, I have a really powerful unfair ability, but if you survive, it's it's on me.
And it's really very flavorful for him as well. He's one of the most powerful abilities.
Bro, the lightning,
But he just fries himself.
He's easily got the best quirk in the show. Because it has a drawback. I don't know. It's very character building.
Realistic.
Yeah. But so I'm a big fan of the once per game. I'm a big fan of the Air and Order stunning symbol, and I think targeted committal is going to be the number one thing.
Deal.
Yeah, but I do think I'm going to be playing Froppy in every tournament, because I am the number one Froppy player. Barry Everson can kiss my ass. You can fight me on that, but you won't, because you know that I'm the number one Froppy player, and that's why she is the number one on the tier list. She has more resources than you, she's got more stats than you, and she's got a longer tongue than you.
And I think that's a good place to end it.
On longer tongue than you?
Yeah.
That's your...
We can always end it on an innuendo.
I don't know.
Thanks for listening, guys.
This one's for children.
No, it's not.
It's My Hero Academia.
Were you listening to yourself at all while you were recording?